Welcome to the ThunderCast, your martial athletics podcast produced by the fans, for the fans. We're bringing you the thundering word on the thundering herd each and every week. So keep it right here. The ThunderCast is on the loose. Thanks for downloading another episode of the ThunderCast. You can follow us on at ThunderCast_pod. You can also watch the show on our YouTube channel. And while you're there, please subscribe and like and hit the post notification bell and share some of those hype points with us if you got them. And of course, we're on all of your favorite podcasting networks. If you don't know by now, now you know. It's KD and it's Jed back with you this week for 5 things every herd fan needs to know. And man, there are some doozies. But before we get into that, man, how's the week going? I can tell you now, I'm busier than all get out. Are you able to come up for air longer than how long it's going to take us to do this?
Yeah, I did. I came up for air just long enough to do this episode, and then it's just diving right back in, man. It's crazy. Well, I mean, you've got kids, man. It's like you get to this part of the summer, and it's already geared up. You know, we're already looking at start of the school year. You know, as we get closer to football, and closer to that good stuff, that also means closer to the school year. So things are already starting to warm up for that. But man, I love it.
Not all of us can be down in Antigua sitting on the beach and enjoying a vacation like someone who shall remain nameless that is also affiliated with the show. No, I'm glad Russ got away. We're thinking about you here, bud, but it has been a very, very, very busy week on the ThunderCast. Of course, we are in the midst of position group breakdowns, and if you've missed any of those, I highly suggest that you go back and start from the beginning. We are more than halfway done. So there are only a handful left to go, and man, it's been a really, really good series this year. This is we've been doing these since the inception of the show, and I think this is the best series of position group breakdowns that we've had since we've been doing the ThunderCast. But that ain't what we're here for today.
Today, no, I am a listener to the position group breakdowns. Yeah, KD, that's what I do. I like to listen to them.
I know. And I remember weeks beforehand, you talking about like, I'm looking forward to just being able to hit play and sit back and chill and listen. And I know so many other folks are like that as well. And we appreciate each and every person that tunes in, whether it's on an audio version or on the video version on YouTube. Thanks to everybody that's been recently joining the ThunderCast, the growing group of ThunderCast followers on social media, especially on Facebook and Instagram. Like those two media outlets are really starting to gain a lot of new followers, but we're posting a lot of cool content over there. So, we appreciate folks are coming along and enjoying what we're doing. Thanks a whole lot. I'll give you a little bit of a preview of something that's coming out in about a week or so. You should be on the lookout for the G5 Hives Worker Bee series. Those guys do a phenomenal job talking to just about every single team in the country in the G5 and doing a team preview. And I recorded ours just last evening, and they told me it would be posting next week after they get it edited. So be on the lookout for that. That was a lot of fun. I love being a part of the G5 Hive and the Worker Bee series. This is our third year that they've asked the ThunderCast to be a part of that. And I just want to say thanks to those guys once again for continuing to ask us. But Jed, we got a lot of things to get into, and we can't do any of it without getting a word from our sponsors at Leasure Oliver PLLC.
If you've been hurt in a wreck, call the law firm of Leasure Oliver PLLC. Find them at 304carwreck.com.
Strap in, man, because we're talking about a lot of events that are coming up for the herd. And this is not just football specific stuff. These are a lot of fundraiser type events and cool opportunities for you to get out, support martial athletics, maybe rub some shoulders with some of your favorite players from the present and the past. So let's get into it with 5 things that every herd fan needs to know this week, sponsored by ignite.link.
And now, here are at least 5 things every herd fan needs to know this week. As always, brought to you by ignite.link, the Tri-State's premier IT management team.
It will be a tad bit football heavy as we start. Our number one thing this week is that Marshall football group ticket sales are now on sale. And yeah, you've always been able to get group ticket sales, right? But they've revamped it a little bit and made it a little bit more easy to do that. And depending on the size of your group, it would be the size of the discount that you get and also the size of the discount in the area of the stadium in which you might want to sit. But I think the coolest thing is that there is a new online purchasing system that eliminates you from having to collect all the money from your entire group. It can now be done online. So they made it far easier for groups to individually pay for their own seats within that group. So it takes a load off of somebody who's always got to be the banker of the group. But your group ticket prices or group ticket sizes start at 15 is the minimum size for a group and go all the way up to 100 plus, whatever you want to do. Ticket prices are posted in the general emails. If you're not getting the emails from Herd Athletics, you should definitely sign up for those. But you can go to herdzone.com and click the tickets tab and dig into some group ticket stuff. But I will tell you, you can, with just a group of 15, you can get general admission and end zone seats for as little as $15 a piece. If you go to 50 plus, your end zone, general admission, and sideline seats all go down to $10 a piece. And you can get prime seating with a group of 50 or more for just $20 a ticket. If you can't quite get 50, 15 or more will get you East Prime seating for $25. So there's a lot of good tickets there, or a lot of good ticket deals there. This is great for things like church groups or youth football teams or just friend groups or alumni groups and things like that. This is a great way to save a lot of money and put more butts in the seats. So with that, Jed, let me ask you this. Do you think revamping this process, making it easier, do you think this will move the needle at all for attendance this year?
Yeah, I think so. One of the things that we understand is there's ebbs and flows to attendance, right? So, weather obviously affects attendance. Are we putting a winning product on the field? How is the game day experience? And I think all those can affect. And what we've seen is it's a multifaceted approach to that, right? You can't just, obviously a winning product will put butts in seats for sure, but it takes a multifaceted approach to it. So the long answer to the question is I think it will move the needle overall. I still think some of those other things come into play because they always do, who we're playing, the product on the field, game day experience, all those things. But the way the athletic department has been revamping and doing things this year, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the lights. So now we've got a whole new light show. We've got the opportunity for night games that allows people more time to tailgate and get to games, and be able to actually sit and participate in the stands as games. And this is one of those things that can remove barriers for people who go, I don't know, I'm maybe not super interested, but my church group is going to go. And for $10, I can go hang out with my church group and take in a Marshall game. I've used the group rates before for company outings, right? To get all of us together and be able to sit in the same section together. So I think it will move the needle in as much as it is part of the bigger picture, the bigger things that the university and the athletic department is trying to do to bring in more people. So I think, yes, as part of the bigger picture, I think it is moving the needle.
I would say it can move the needle, and if it's gonna do it, it's gonna be by removing difficulties, barriers, like you're saying. And let's face it, man, even if you're looking at a scenario where you're like, you know what, we've got enough people going that we're going to be able to get tickets for $10. You throw in your $10, something comes up and you can't go. You're not torn up about it, because you're like, man, I dropped $35 on the ticket. Now I can't go. You drop $10 and yeah, you're a little upset, but it's not a big deal. You're not as torn up about it. So I think this will help move the needle. Winning cures all. You're undefeated on any given week, and you're going to have some people come to the game that otherwise wouldn't. Number 2 this week is some details about one of Marshall's the Marshall Quarterback Club's biggest fundraisers of the year, and that's, of course, the reverse raffle. That's going to go down on Saturday, August 15th at 5:30 p.m. at Marshall Health Arena. Your deadline to RSVP is July 31st. So it's coming up pretty quick. You've got a little over a week as we record, and by the time this posts and you see it, you might have about a week. But your ticket price is going to be $225. If you want to get a table, you can get a table for 10 for $2,250. But what does that get you? Well, it's going to get you an all-you-can-eat buffet, an open bar, live dance, music, a Marshall program, football program update. Obviously, they're going to have some speakers. Entry into the reverse raffle. The featured speakers this year are four, well, you could call them legendary players. And it's going to start with what many have told me is the greatest offensive lineman to ever play at Marshall, John Wade, Chris Massey, a great all-time wide receiver, Nate Poole, and another great center, Jason Starkey. Those are your four featured speakers this year. And of course, the grand prize is that $5,000 prize if you happen to win the reverse raffle. Dress code is business casual. This, of course, is your premier fundraising event for the Marshall Quarterback Club. There are a very, very limited number of tickets for the general public. So if you're thinking about going, you better get on that right quick. First-time attendees can purchase online. Returning attendees should contact your quarterback club rep. And this is obviously a great event for fans wanting to spend the evening with some herd legends while being able to support the program. Jed, what all we know about the reverse raffle over the years is that is massively important to fundraising efforts for the quarterback club, which then again pays big dividends to the Marshall football program. So, have you ever been able to go to one of these? I have not.
Same. I have not been able to go. Typically around this time of year is scheduling things for me. So I have not been able to go. So, and the guy who could talk most about it has decided to be out of the country this week. So,
no, it's a very, very cool event.
Yeah.
Remember last year they debuted the green helmets. So people that were in attendance there got their first look. They were the first ones to get a look at Marshall's brand new green helmets. But anyway, if you are interested in going to that, I would contact or buy your ticket very, very soon. Number 3 this week is Village on the Pitch, Jed. That is the soccer, the Marshall Soccer fundraiser. It's going down Saturday, July 25th, just in a few days, from 5 to 8 p.m. at Village Caregiving Headquarters in Barbersville. Ticket prices were $125, but guess what? It's sold out. So a huge opportunity for Marshall Soccer and a big premier fundraising event has sold out. Very, very, very cool that this one sold out in advance. I think that it continues to show that people really support Marshall men's soccer. But businesses, I think, still have an opportunity to get involved if they would like to. My question to you, Jed, is, has Marshall men's soccer become a top 2 program in the athletic department to be able to fundraise for? Yeah. Think about, have they surpassed basketball, or are they still third?
I'd have to look at the numbers there.
We're not talking about dollars. We're talking about ease of fundraising.
Just ease of bringing people in. Oh, for sure. Yeah. So, it's still, well, soccer rivals basketball in attendance now already. A sport that, 10 years ago, you probably couldn't even find where they played their games, or what, before the vet was built. So a program that's gone from one of the bottom, I wouldn't say bottom, but something not really thought about to, it's up there, man. Let me put it this way. There's a strong case for it, especially when you are the only program to win a national championship at the highest level. That brings you some, with a national championship appearance, deep runs in an NCAA tournament, being ranked for the last umpteen years consistently. Yeah, it's a product that gets a lot of people excited. It's easy to get excited about it. The events, the games are as fun as all get out. You got a program, and you mentioned earlier when we're talking about football, winning cures all, right? You bring a fun, winning, dominant product to the field. You're going to bring people in, and so now you've got something that, yeah, I think it would compete for that number two spot. I think it really would. I would even be as bold to say yes. I mean, obviously, sold out tickets.
Yeah.
It's already met fundraising requirements. And to talk, and I am going to talk a little bit about dollars and cents here. Not exact numbers, but to my knowledge, this is a program that is not designed. Football is a program that generates revenue, generates money. For the athletic department, and a lot of these other sports don't. Soccer, to my knowledge, pays for itself and then some, as a sport that's not really traditionally been designed or understood to actually, generate some level of revenue. And I think it does. And it's because of the excitement it's been able to build behind it. So yeah, I would say KD, it's at number 2.
It's number 2. Stamp it. Jed says yes. I think that's a great way to look at it. Is if men's soccer is not only self-sufficient and paying for itself, but also if they're turning a little bit of a profit and then in turn able to pay for women's soccer, let's just say, because they're right there sharing facilities and things. And then when Rafa is able to get this thing completely turned around and they start taking off, if they too then begin to be self-sufficient, then what a luxury to have. Football is paying for a lot of varsity sports at Marshall. And if you're able to remove 2 of them that aren't on that tab anymore, that's big for an athletic department like Marshall. That's really, really big. Number 4 this week is the Bart and Doris Andrews Memorial Women's Basketball Golf Scramble. Monday, August the 3rd at Guyan Golf and Country Club. Obviously, the beneficiary of this is the Marshall women's basketball team. You can register through the Big Green. Entry fee is not. I didn't find it. I mean, if I'd have clicked the links, I probably could have found it. But whatever, it's in there. If you want to play golf, I'm not a golfer. Obviously, I'm not a golfer. But I know a lot of folks are, and this is another one. If businesses are interested, there may be opportunities to sponsor a hole. So something you may want to look into. I'm pretty sure we did that a couple of years ago. We sponsored a hole as the ThunderCast, which was a neat thing. I always kind of wanted to do that. I wished we would have got I don't know that they did this or didn't do it. I imagine they just had like a sandwich board up there with like sponsored by or whatever. Really would have been cool if they'd have gotten like the flags, the pin flags or whatever. And then, with our logo on it, that would have been a cool thing to have, but whatever. It was cool to be able to give to women's basketball and, help that program continue to rise. Let me ask you this. What do you think Julie Folks is going to be able to do with an even larger donation pool?
Sheesh, man. Continue on to greatness. I think that she's, she has proven from the last, for these past 2 seasons that she can build a roster. She can build a winning team and a winning program, a team that can make a run in a tournament that KD predicted that all they had to do was win a couple of games in. And by golly, they went and won the whole thing. So with more funds equate to, better recruits, better staff, better things that they need to support the program. It's these events are huge for these programs, and we want to see women's basketball continue the success. We want to make it to an NCAA tournament again. We want to win the Sun Belt. We want to be a dominant basketball program, and to do that takes money, and that takes effort and time and all that investment. But you've seen what she's been able to do with what she's just over the course of 2 years with what she's working with. More donations, I would say, equals to greater success in the Julie Folks era, because she's proven it now. She's proven that she can do it. over just the short period of time with the resources that she currently has at her disposal.
Yeah, and look, we're talking about these last two things are winning programs, and people love to support a winner. They find it much easier to get donations when you're already winning. People want to be a part of a winning culture. And earlier, I'm not trying to take away from what you said by money allows you to get recruit better players and hire better staff. How about just flipping that point a little bit and saying, how about being able to compensate your current staff that might be really good a little bit
Yeah.
more? Give them a little bit more of a reason to want to stay around and continue building this thing with Julie Folks. I'm with you, man. The more resources at her disposal, you would like to think the more wins, the bigger wins, the more championships come. Now, that obviously is not a linear thing because there are a lot of teams that spend a lot of money every year and don't win very much. We are currently blessed to win quite a bit and, relatively speaking, are achieving more with less with women's basketball. And that's something that you just can't sustain forever. At some point, we have to be able to make larger resource pools available to our sports that are winning.
Right. And we have to do that in support of the winning programs too, right? So if it's, we have the high expectation here and we're starting to reach that expectation and we pull funding, or we have less butts and seats at games, less ticket sales, less investment in it, then we can't continue to have these high expectations and continue this climb if we're not supporting the program. So I was, let's just call it what it is, or call it out for what it is. Look at the number of fans that came to a women's basketball game the first 10 home games of the year compared to the tail end of the year, compared to during the tournament run. So I'm not saying that, I get it. It's tough to go to every single game. You're not going to be able to pack out the cam for every single women's game, which would be freaking sweet if we did. But, but you've got to create that. You got to keep that trend, right? We can't go back to having sub whatever turnout that we have like we did at the beginning of the year. You got to, buy your tickets, show up, donate, put your money where your mouth is. You want to have the winning product, and you want to be able to enjoy the entertainment that you get by going to the winning product. Then, put a little bit of effort into it. And so that's important. We got to support these programs when they're on the rise and make sure that, hey, let's get behind it so we can continue that climb.
Yeah, and women's basketball in particular is generally a really good value for tickets. And it's another one of those things, like I said, with football group tickets, you buy, let's say, a family 4-pack or something like that of season tickets or whatever, and you don't feel bad when you can't make it to all of them because you're not paying through the nose to go there. It's a really good value. So I wish that we were able to pack out the cam for men's and women's games, because when they go on a run and they really start going, people do start coming out. It's just, I wish that baseline level of fan was there more often. I wish that we were here instead of here until they start winning. But, we're talking about larger resource pools, and that's going to lead us straight into number 5 this week. The Big Green 110% campaign is back again, and it is going on now. And of course, if you are a Big Green member, then the 110% campaign is obviously you're urged to give 10% more than you did last year. And if you are not a Big Green member, how about join? Just join. It's not expensive to do it. I think it's like $100 to be a Big Green member for the year. And you've heard Russ and I talk about the Herd Perks card and how you can recoup all that money just by doing the things you're doing anyway around town, going out to eat and getting a discount on dinner, going to Glenn's and buying herd gear and getting a discount on herd gear. And you can recoup more than $100 over the course of a year just by doing what you're already doing. And that money goes to fund our scholarships. And that's the point. That's the main point. Once we are able, if we are ever able to get to the point to where we can fund all of our scholarships athletically through the Big Green, think of all the money that frees up out of the athletic budget to be able to do so many more things, to be able to hire this person, that person, be able to go, I mean, we don't have to get into it. You know what will happen if you're able to free up a couple of $1 million out of the budget, because the Big Green can now fund every athletic scholarship. I'm a proud Big Green member. I know you are a proud Big Green member. The Thundercast, of course, are proud Big Green members. So we urge everybody to do that, especially if you live in Huntington or are in the immediate area to where you could put a Herd Perks card to use. And now, on top of that, they've gone nationwide with it. They launched that last year, and I have the website bookmarked. I can get deals for being a Big Green member in Wesley Chapel, Florida. 1,000 miles away from Huntington, there are things that I can get discounts on, nationwide brands and things like there's no good reason to not be a Big Green member. But one of your big perks is the 110% campaign cookout that's coming up. That's the number 5 thing. It's going to be Friday, August 28th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at Jones C. Edwards Stadium. How are you eligible? Just increase your Marshall Athletic Fund pledge by 10%. And I would imagine if you are a first-year joiner of the Big Green, that this could, I can't say definitely that it would be open to you, but I'm sure that it's worth inquiring about. But this is an invitation-only donor appreciation event. You'll have the opportunity to interact with coaches and some of the Marshall players and student athletes from across the athletic department. But now invitations are currently being mailed out. So the sooner you are able to bump that 10% up, the sooner you can expect to get your invitation in the mail. Existing donors will still have time to qualify by increasing your annual gift. Jed, my question to you is the Big Green the best value in herd athletics?
Best value? Absolutely. Because I think we in this, let's a couple of things. Let's break this down into a couple of things. First, we think about, NIL, right? When NIL came along, and that was, we've got to have, money for that. And, we've got to be able to fund this. And, this is where the Thunder Trust came out from originally. And, and kind of, I wouldn't say kind of sitting in the background. But, we've talked about this before. You look at the number of Big Green total members versus the total number of people who support Marshall athletics and actually show up to a football game.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that the Big Green almost has taken a back seat to those conversations. But what you talked about earlier is really, really important. If we can fund the scholarships that these student athletes get, then that frees up money for other things. And we forget that that money's got to come from somewhere just to fund the scholarships. There was already perks for a student athlete to come to Marshall University, or whatever university that they go to or attend, that there was having all the things around them in the athletic department that they get, the support and all the things that they get there, but also the free education. They get a free education being here, and that costs money too. And so the Big Green is a big piece of helping fund that. And as the Big Green grows and can fund more and more scholarships, that frees up more money for the revenue sharing, NIL, things of that nature, or just, facilities upgrade, whatever, you get that frees up some money there. And so the return on your investment is a better product on the field, better facilities, all these things that we want to have as fans, is a return on your investment, in the Big Green.
Mm-hmm.
So there are other things that you can give money towards, but I think this is the biggest return on the investment, because the Big Green is the facilitator for the scholarships and so many other things behind the scenes in the athletic department. And then on top, that's just just being a herd fan and giving money. And then on top of that, you've got herd perks that you talked about. You can make your $100 a year back. You go into the higher tiers, well, you get a parking spot. You want to park right next to us, so you've got front row access to the ThunderCast tailgate on the C lot. By golly, there's a perk there, right? You get access to that parking to purchase that parking right there next to the end zone. And so you've got the perks on top of that as well. They give you that high value to yourself personally. So it's not just a pure donation. You get something back in return beyond just, helping fund scholarships. You're getting, real financial value. So, I think there's more things that I could probably delve into with it. But yeah, I think the Big Green's the best bang for your buck and the best investment that you can make in Marshall University athletics.
And we tend to think of these in terms of like individual donations, right? And I tend to think about it at the $100 level, because I just want people to join. Like,
Yes.
Because I see things very clearly through the lens of the average fan, because that's what I am, right? But there are other lenses to look through. Like, what if you own a business and that's a tax write-off for you because that's a charitable donation? And, you might not be able to write off all of it, but you can write off some of it. And even I can write off my Big Green donation to a certain degree. But, so if you're looking for a reason to like spend some money to lower your tax burden on the year, well, that's a great place to do it, because you're quite literally helping fund scholarships. And I'm not sure there are too many better causes than, paying for the education of some deserving student athletes. We're not just talking about football guys. We're talking about the women's golf team that can't seem to get a B to save its life. They all tend to get A's. You know what I mean? So we're talking about like swimming and diving and the new stunt team, like all of these things that are going to have to be funded, and the Big Green's going to be front and center on all that. And you can have a big part in that just with a $100 donation, and I know people go, man, my $100 ain't going to matter. Yeah. But like 1,000 of us that donate $100, that certainly matters. We can really make a big dent. 100 of us, me and regular fans like me, I can't give $1,000 a year. I'm never shy about saying that, ever. But I'll give my, $100, $200, whatever I can afford. And that's what I can afford, So there's something for everybody, but I'm with you. I think it's the single best value in herd athletics, because you get something back for it. It's other than, you buy a ticket, you watch the game. That's what you get for buying the ticket. You get to watch the game, right? What do you get back for joining the Big Green? You have the opportunity to have some premium tailgating opportunities. You have the opportunity to get some premium ticket options. You have first dibs a lot of times on away game tickets that are going to sell out quick. There's just a lot of other perks that come along with it other than a discount card and, maybe being able to get a cool parking spot on the C lot and have some good food 6 days a year.
Right. You wouldn't want a front row seat to that, man. I'm telling you.
I would love to have one, honestly. I mean, geez, I get to go to one game a year. I can live vicariously through you. So
yeah.
But Jed, that does it. That's your 5 things every herd fan needs to know this week, brought to you by ignite.link. You got anything else you want to throw in there before we look to get out of here this week?
Yeah, no, man, that's all I got. It's great 5 things. As much as I want to hate on Russ, I do wish him the best on his trip, even though it's in a location that doesn't seem very, I don't know. He's relaxing too much down there, I think. But
let's call it jealousy. I'm just a little jealous because
fine.
I'm waking my butt up every day and going to work and sweating like crazy out here, and he keeps sending me pictures of like his legs with an ocean behind it, and I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Just rub it in, pal. No, we wish him the best and safe travels and a good trip, man. We missed you this week, but good to get back in the saddle with you, KD. It's always fun.
Yep,
that's all I got, man.
I agree. It's always fun to do a show with you. I will say this to everybody. Remember, again, it's position group breakdowns. They are going on. If you have missed a show, please go back and listen to the show. It is linebacker week on the ThunderCast this week. We're going to be putting out a lot of great graphics about great players from the past and awesome plays from the past. And, of course, we will get you your linebacker position group breakdown later this week. Do not miss it. Like, share, and subscribe anywhere you like to listen to your favorite show so you never miss an episode, and join the Big Green. Jed, take us out of here.
Hey, whether you see us at the camp, or you see us down at the vet, or whether you see us in the sea lot eating some awesome, really great food right before a Marshall football game, wherever you see us, man, we're going to be saying, go Herd.
Go Herd. It's the ThunderCast. We'll see you next week. Later.